Welcome to the Autism on the Seas Special Vacation Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Caslin, and I am really excited to have Michelle Collins with us today. Hey, Michelle.
Hi.
Michelle is located in Oklahoma, Norman, right? Is that what you said? Yeah, okay. But she's a transplant from Virginia Beach. And she doesn't have time to miss the beach because she's busy cruising all the time with her family. Michelle has a couple of sons, Cade, who is 28, and Riley, who is 15. And Riley is on the spectrum, and she has taken a couple of cruises with him. And we wanted to just kind of catch up with Michelle and just kind of hear about her experience with Autism on the Seas and cruising and all that fun stuff. So, how are you doing, Michelle?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm good. I'm good now that we got our recording issues at bay, hopefully. So back in, I guess, 2017, maybe, I guess 2 years ago, right? You took your first cruise with us. Tell us about that. How did that come about?
My sister actually found Autism on the Sea. Probably back in 2015. And sent me the link, and I was looking at it, and I was like, oh, wow. And then I finally, I think in 2016, I applied for a grant.
Okay.
And I think in November, I applied for one, and I got accepted.
Oh, wow. So for folks who are not familiar with Autism on the Seas Foundation, Autism on the Seas Foundation is our nonprofit arm, and through that organization, we fund grants that assist folks who may be financially strapped or going through some stuff in their life where they really need a vacation, but they just can't quite afford a trip on their own. So I'm really happy to hear that you were able to take advantage of that. So tell us a little bit more about how that worked.
Once you apply, they send you, when they have funds available, they'll send out a list, and there's usually, a couple of different cruises to pick from, and, cabins and family size. And they give you what the amount they have, and you have the amount that you can afford. Mm-hmm. So it is different price ranges, usually.
Okay.
So I picked one that I knew I could afford. And it was very reasonable. And I think that was in October, and the cruise was in February.
Okay, and so it was just you and Riley, right?
Yes.
And where did you go?
We went to Grand Cayman.
Oh, nice.
And Cozumel.
Beautiful. And how long was that cruise?
It was, I do believe, 4 or 5 days.
Okay. And did you leave from Texas or Florida?
We left from Tampa.
Oh, okay.
Which was really nice because my oldest son, he kind of spoils us, and he donated money.
Aww.
He donated, and my mom and dad donated, so they bought one ticket, and I bought one plane ticket for the plane. And then, my sister and my brother-in-law bought us snorkeling excursion.
Oh, beautiful.
So that was really nice because Riley loves fish.
He likes water. Okay, cool.
He's my fish.
Okay, he's your fish. Well, all right. Yeah. So speaking of Riley, so tell us a little bit about Riley and tell us a little bit about his condition and what he's typically able to do and comfortable with, and maybe some of the things that you were surprised that he did on the cruise.
He is comfortable with things he's familiar with.
Yeah. Okay.
He does like to swim. He likes to play mini golf, which was awesome that they had a mini golf course. Mm-hmm. They had a rock climbing wall.
Yes.
And he climbed it. and he's scared of heights.
Wow.
And he did it 3 times, and each time he got a little bit higher, which was awesome because he kept going back and he kept trying to go higher. So that, to me, that was the most that I came back from.
That's great. So, I mean, we were sharing a little bit before we actually started the formal interview, and you were kind of describing, Riley and sort of his day-to-day challenges, and one of the things that you kind of pointed out was, for all intents and purposes, if anybody were to see Riley, they think, wow, here's a really smart, good-looking young man, looks like a typical teenager, right? But where, you face the challenge is, some of the things that you would expect would be really easy for him to do are the biggest challenges, right?
Yes. He hygiene, dressing, communication. He does not communicate the way I would say a 15-year-old would. He still gets verbiage backwards.
Okay.
He still says I'm hot when it's cold out.
How is he?
I'm cold when it's hot out.
Yeah.
It's those little things that, gets frustrating.
How is he with other kids? With other boys his age?
Yeah, not so good.
Okay. So some of the social interactions are challenging. Yeah. So when you decided to take this trip, were you a little bit worried about what's he going to do and how's he going to interact with the other kids on the boat? Was that something that you were thinking about?
It was. It really was, because I wasn't sure how he would do, and I wasn't sure if he wanted to go into the because at the time he was 13. So
right.
he could check himself in and out of the kids' room.
Okay, yes.
And I wasn't too keen on that. So I didn't really even put him in there. I didn't give him that option because I didn't want him to know he could just leave if he wanted to.
Okay.
But it wasn't really a big issue because they had such things planned for us. And they had, like at the pool time, we had pool time where when we were with them, like the first cruise that I took where with Autism on the Sea, and we had the staff with us. They have such great planning and such great staff that there's always something going on for us to do.
That's good. Yeah. So I was gonna mention that. So I would imagine that the staff probably kind of stepped in and maybe filled those gaps where you might have been worried about some of the socialization piece. Yeah.
They really did, because he gets along great with his peers that way. With the other kids that have disabilities and stuff, he gets along really good with them. It's the neurotypical ones that usually he doesn't get that along great with.
Okay.
At his age level.
Understood.
So the younger ones he gets along pretty good with because they're on his level sometimes.
Yep.
But his age level, not so much. So with his peers, I wasn't that concerned with. So going with, his peers and knowing we're going to be with a group of his peers, I wasn't that concerned about. Knowing we were going to be with other people like-minded. And I'd have other parents that knew what could happen.
Sure.
That might happen. It was a little bit more easier to go. Because I knew that they've been there and they've probably done it.
Absolutely. There's a lot of comfort in that. And hopefully you made some friends as a result of this trip as well.
I did.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you because, I know, you obviously picked this cruise because you wanted to make sure that, your son was safe and that your son could actually have, a vacation that was kind of all his own too. But Mama needs a break.
Yes, Mama needs a break sometimes.
So when we were talking before, you kind of made me laugh because you were saying, yeah, God, I had this respite and I didn't know what to do with it, So tell us a little. Yeah.
I get them after 15 minutes because I didn't know what else to do. I think I'd already gone and got me a latte and sat down and listened to a couple of the songs, and I'm like, okay, I'm bored now.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah. Well, we said, your head wasn't on a swivel because you knew he was safe. Somebody was taking care of him, and you needed to kind of work that vacation muscle and that relaxation muscle of yours and kind of get in tune. But after a couple of days, you started to get into the groove. Yes.
I did. It did take about a day and a half.
And
then it was like, okay, now I'm good. I went and sat in the jacuzzi the second day. That was nice and comfortable.
So if you were going to, maybe, I guess, going back to Riley, what would you say were, maybe one or two things that really stand out in your mind that really made that particular cruise with Autism on the Seas, special and the right decision for you?
His the way he took to cruising.
Mm-hmm.
He loved it.
Wow.
I mean, I thought he would because he loves water. He grew up at the beach, and he was my water baby.
Mm-hmm.
But he just loved being out on that ship. He loved just staring at the railing, just looking out.
Mm-hmm.
He just liked walking the ship. Like when we first got on, and this was pretty typical of probably anywhere we've been, but we didn't really, when we first got on the ship, we went and found where our room was going to be. And then we had to walk, and we had to go find where the food was. And then we had to go find where the fun stuff was. And then we had to go walk the whole ship. And that took about 2 hours.
Yeah, I would imagine. It's a pretty big ship.
But we had to find where everything was and where all the exit was. But that was how he was learning where everything was. And that was his way of adjusting. And we did circles, but that was okay. And then, he found the putt-putt.
Oh, is that the mini golf?
Yes. I think we stayed there for a good 30, 40 minutes.
Oh, good.
So, and that was fun. I mean, and then, we found great things, and he had a ball. And he was like, and then when we started moving and we saw, he met some kids, and then all the staff were, amazing. And he was just like, okay, these are my people.
Oh,
and that's what
so
he said
good.
to me. He goes, these are my people. And I'm like, yes, they are.
Really? Oh, I love that. So he
was like, okay.
That's so good. Okay. So Michelle, did he maintain any friendships after? Is he connected with anybody post cruises?
Not really.
Okay.
But he's not.
That's not his thing.
No.
Okay. But he took from it what he needed, and he enjoyed himself.
Now, if he saw them again, he'd be like, hey, friend,
Right.
He would still know them.
Sure.
But he's not, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, he's a boy.
He's a boy. And how about you? What is your most memorable moment, whether it's related just to yourself or to your son or just in general? What stands out in your mind as something you'll never forget?
My child ordering escargot.
Oh my God.
And trying them.
Good.
He tried them.
Do you like them?
No.
He's still brave. He gets an A for effort.
But he tried them.
That's pretty amazing.
Yes. Considering he would not eat any ice cream other than sherbet. Even the wait staff knew that. She was like, there's no sherbet tonight. And he goes, I don't want dessert.
Oh. He's a creature of habit.
But he orders escargot.
That's wonderful. So, if you were going to give advice to anybody who's thinking about this, but hasn't booked it, but really wants to, but maybe they need a little bit more nudge, what would you tell them?
Do it.
Do it. Just do it, right?
Just do it.
It's a new year. Take some chances. This isn't. It's not a risk, right? It's a joy.
It really isn't. And I did the one with the staff, and I did the excursion. With in the Grand Caymans, we did the excursion with the scuba dive, or not scuba dive, the snorkeling. And I ended up paying and having a one-on-one for our excursion.
Oh, good. Okay.
And it was the best thing I ever did.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes, it was really nice. And it was really kind of nice because we had rough currents that day. And so it was kind of nice having her, because she ended up staying on the boat because Riley was having some problems with his mask going on and off. So he kept getting on and off the boat. And for me, that would have been me getting on and off that boat the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was really nice because she ended up just staying on the boat and helping him on the boat, and me staying in the water. So I was in the water when he needed to come back in.
Oh, good. Do you remember what your staffer's name was?
Yes, it was. Oh, goodness. Give me a minute and it'll come to me.
That's okay. Yeah, you can tell me later if you want. But yeah, I mean, I think it's those little almost afterthoughts that you say, you know what, I'm going to do this. Let me get the help while I can, while I'm here.
Yes.
Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not spend your time like you should, really enjoying the activity?
It was amazing, and it was really fun because it took, like, when we were going out, and I could listen and focus on what they were saying to me, and she was focusing on Riley.
Yeah.
So I had all my knowledge that I was hearing instead of having to pay attention to him and making sure he was okay.
Yeah.
Because he was all focused on the mask, and he was ready to go. So it was not, but, and then when we were getting out, he kind of had a meltdown because his flip-flops got wet.
Oh, as they do.
Yes, and he doesn't like wet flip-flops.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So it was kind of, and then they got sandy, and then, yes.
Okay, yeah.
So it was really funny because one of the ladies that was on the boat with us, her son was like, well, what's going on? He goes, that's his aid. And so it was kind of like they knew.
Right.
But it was kind of nice because no one said anything. Everyone was so very nice.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing. It was such an amazing time. And if I ever did it again, I would so do another aid with me.
A one-on-one staff? Yeah. Good. Good. I'm glad that you shared that. Because you kind of had the best of both worlds. You didn't opt for one-on-one throughout the whole cruise, but you made a wise choice when you went on the excursion. It was a little bit, hard to handle all of those things going on at once and enjoy yourself. So I think that was a good option for you.
Yes. Especially when you're by yourself.
Yes. So we know that you're planning your next one. So we hope that we get you back in 2019, and we can call you up again and hear about your next adventure with Riley.
Yes, our next adventure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, listen, Michelle, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. We really appreciate you, and I want to wish you and your wonderful family a very happy new year.
Thank you so much.
Okay, take care.
Take care.